Hey guys, this is Kath and welcome to the bookish side of me. So, for today's video, we are going to finally talk about books. Alright, so to start off, I just really would like to share with you my favorite books of all time. I somehow tried to narrow this down to like my top 5, which I'm going to discuss right now. And I actually tried to like explain in one video all my favorite books, like series, standalone, YA, contemporary, but it's just too much or too many. So I thought of doing another favorites video in the future. So I think I'm going to like put it in categories like what are my favorite series or what are my favorite standalones. So that is going to be on the next videos, so I hope you stay tuned for that. But right now we are going to talk about my top 5 favorite books of all time. And guys, if you hear any noise that is not included and unnecessary in this video, I'm so sorry for that, but ignore them. Okay, so let's start. So what we're gonna do is I'm going to show you first my number 5 or the 5th book of my favorites, the least favorite in this list, and then we're going our way to the top until we reach the number 1 level. Oh my god, they are so noisy outside. I'm sorry. Okay, so number 5 on my top favorite books of all time is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. This is one of my favorite like YA contemporary of all time. I can't really say anything more other than I love this book so much. I've read this by the time that it was out. I think that was 2013 or 2012. I'm not really sure. I'm gonna check. So it came out in 2012 and I read it around that time. It was so hyped up back then, and that's the reason why I discovered this one. This is the first John Green book that I've read. So after this one, I read other books by John Green as well. So I read Looking for Alaska, Abundance of Catherine's, and Paper Towns. So this, if you're not familiar with this story yet, I don't know where it came from, but this story follows 2 young teenagers who met in a cancer kid support group, I think. Yeah, and they fell in love with one another, and this is just so simply amazing. I just really couldn't stop thinking about this book. Everything about this book is, you know, remarkable for me. It's so memorable. Like every line, every moment of Hazel Grace and Augustus Waters just like imprinted on my mind. I recently reread this book and I fell in love with it as much as I was in love with it back then. I thought, nah, I'm gonna change how I feel about this book, but it still remains the same. I cried a lot in this book since 2013 and I still cried like a month ago. I know that some people really don't like this, and for them this is just like a flat, boring love story of 2 teenagers with cancer, but for me it's something more than that. I appreciate this book a lot. I adore this book so much. Alright, so number 4 on my top favorite books of all time. This is a series. This is the only series here on my list, and I just like picked the first book of the series because it's so freaking heavy to bring them all here downstairs. So that series is Harry Potter, and do I need to say anything more about Harry Potter? Harry Potter is by J.K. Rowling. Actually, I've read the series when I was older. I think that was in 2013 or 2014 when I read it, and I am so in love with this series, with this world, with the characters, like everything about this book. This series is just so plain magical and whimsical to me. So hard to explain, but I love it so much. This is my all-time favorite series. The best. So we're down to the 3rd book on this list. This one, I just read it recently, and actually guys, to be honest, I didn't really expect to love this book as much as I do right now. I love this so much, and I think it was published like 10 years ago or maybe more, but I just read it and I love it. So that book is Jellicoe Road by Melina Marchata. I bought this from MRBF in 2018 and this was on sale. I got it only for 125 pesos. During the time that it is so hyped up, like back in 2013 or 2012, I didn't read this book, but I was really curious, and many people said that they love this book, they like the story and all that stuff, and I was really interested, but it's not just included in my top priority TBR during that time. And I first picked this up last year in 2019 and I didn't like it at first because for me it was too confusing, especially in the first few pages and the first chapter. I really don't know what's happening in the book. I have no idea what the story is all about because the summary itself at the back of this book is really confusing. And right now, I don't know how to explain the story to you or the plot to you. So let me just simplify this in the simplest explanation that I could. So this story follows a young teenager. I think she's 17. She's 17 years old. Her name is Taylor, which I love because I'm a big fan of Taylor Swift. Hello. So she is currently studying in Jellicoe High School. If I'm going to describe this in a more simpler way, Jellicoe High School is like Hogwarts, just to not include the magic and all that stuff. Wherein they have houses and they stay in their houses. And Taylor is a leader of a certain house. So every year there is like a territorial war in their underground community wherein the students in Jellicoe High School is in war with the cadets and the townies. Townies are, you know, from the town, from the downtown, and cadets are like trainees, military trainees that camp out or camp along the Jellicoe Road every year. So they have this annual tradition of territorial wars. So Taylor was assigned to be the chairman or the chairperson for that specific year. So this book is kind of confusing, but it is so good. This book is so good. And I love this book because of the storyline, the plot twists, most especially the characters in this book. The characters are just so good. I love the characters so much. I just can't explain it. I love this book so much. If you haven't read this one, please do. This is highly recommended. As in, I swear. Let's move on to this book. I've talked so much about this book right now. So this top 2 favorite books of mine are my top favorite books of all time. They haven't been replaced since 2013 or 2012, and I just really love these books so much. So number 2 on my list is The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. Again, this is another popular book, and almost everyone I know already read this book. So this follows a girl named Liselle Miminger, and it takes place in Germany during the World War II. And that's it that you have to know about this book. It's a historical fiction. I just really find this book so unique and so mesmerizing, and just like The Fault in Our Stars, there are parts and moments in this book that I just cannot forget. They are so remarkable and memorable for me. I always think about it. Of course, if you've read this, you know that this book is also unique because of the non-human narrator. And if you haven't read this book, go read it. It's really captivating. The reason why I love this book is, one, it's because it sets in World War II, and second, because of Liselle Miminger. She is like my favorite bookish character of all time. She's like there on top of my list of my favorite characters of all time. Liselle Miminger. I love this girl so much. By the way guys, before I forgot, Book Thief is a movie. I watched that movie as well and it's fantastic. Alright, so we are down to the last book on this list, which means we are down to the top book of all time. My top favorite book of all time. And this book I must say that it's popular because a lot of people have read this and a lot of people have watched the movie because it has a movie. So the reason that I love this book so much is not because of any technical reasons, but this is a personal reason. I love this book so much because it speaks so much about myself, and I could relate to this book so much. So every time I read this book, I am literally shocked because I could always relate to it, and it's like my thoughts and my emotions were printed in a book, and this is it. This is the book. So I'm talking about the book Eat, Pray, Love by Elizabeth Gilbert, and I have the movie tie-in like cover. As I've said, it has a movie starring Julia Roberts, of course, and I love that movie as much as I love this book. What can I say? This book describes my thoughts and my emotions, my aspirations in life, and I never had a book that I could relate to as much as I could relate to this. And it's just so fantastic and amazing. This is just really so personal. This story is actually a personal and true story of the author Elizabeth Gilbert. It's not like her autobiography or whatever, but this is a true story. This has happened to her. This is her experiences. It talks about a certain point in her life wherein she felt like she's discontented and she is not fulfilled in any way, that like there's a gaping hole in her heart. There is something lacking or missing in her life. So I don't know why I could relate to this book because I love this book since I was 18 and I still love it up to this day. I read it sometimes like once every 2 years or 3 years, and I love it still. And you know, I don't know why I could relate to this because Elizabeth here in this book was in her 30s and she has a husband. She's a writer, I think a writer in a magazine, and she has a house, she has a car. If you're going to look outside her life, like her life is already perfect, you know. But still, there is something missing or lacking in her life, and she wants to figure that out and she wants to find it out. So she started her journey on finding herself, and she went to 3 places: Italy, India, and Indonesia. And she's the reason why I would love to go to Indonesia. I'm just so inspired with this book. So I think I'm going to read this again this year. I'm not really sure yet, but I will in the near future. I love it. Please read this, guys. So that's it, guys. We're done with the top 5 books that I really love and I adore with all of my heart. These are the books that really just, you know, influenced me in so many ways, and these are the books that also like brought me to my different perspectives in life. And I think these books will remain as my top favorite books of all time. However, guys, I'm really looking forward to do this video again in 2 years or 3 years time, because I really would love to see if my top 5 changes every now and then. So for now, in 2020, these are my top favorite books, and I love each and every one of them so much. I super love them. And yeah, that's it. I don't know what anything else to say. Anyway, guys, so before we end this video, I'm going to ask you a question. This is something I really would love to do in every video of mine. So my question for this video is, do you have any like all-time favorite books? Do you have top 5 or just one favorite book of all time? So if you have that, please comment it down below, share it to me, and I might, you know, seek recommendations from your favorite books. Or if you love any of these books, if you've read any of this, oh my god, if you've read any of these books and you have a recommendation for me, please do comment it down below. I would really love to look for recommendations that are similar to my reading taste. So for now, please recommend books that are somewhat like this, you know. Alright, guys, so again, share your thoughts on the comment box, and if you like this video, do not forget to click the thumbs up button and subscribe, guys. You know that I need the 100 subscribers to get my username, so please do subscribe. So that's it, guys. I don't have an outro. So just see you on my next video, and please do take care wherever you are. Keep safe, guys. Always sanitize and just stay at home and read books. Follow me on my social media. It's linked down below, and see you on the next one.